My wife comes up to me one day and gives me the worst news any atheist husband could get. She said, I've decided to become a Christian. I thought, wait a minute. What if I could rescue her from this cult that she's gotten involved in? How would I do that? All I got to do is disprove the resurrection of Jesus. So I started to do that. And I used my journalism training, my legal training. It took me 2 years to delve into the minutia of the historical data concerning the death and resurrection of Jesus. 4 words that begin with the letter E to summarize the evidence for the resurrection. This is what brought me from atheism to faith. The first E stands for execution, that Jesus was truly dead after being crucified. There is no record anywhere of anyone ever surviving a full Roman crucifixion. We not only have multiple sources in the documents of the New Testament, we got 5 ancient sources outside the Bible confirming his execution. In the Journal of the American Medical Association, secular, peer-reviewed medical scientific journal, carried an investigation into the death of Jesus, and this was their conclusion. Clearly, the weight of the historical and medical evidence indicates that Jesus was dead even before the wound to his side was inflicted. Second E, early accounts. In other words, we have early reports that come very quickly after the crucifixion that he rose from the dead. We can be entirely confident that that creed was formulated within months of the death of Jesus. That's far too quick to be a legend. Third E stands for an empty. We have an empty tomb. And what's interesting about that is even the enemies of Jesus admitted the tomb was empty. What the enemies of Jesus said was, oh, well, the disciples stole the body. Now think about that. They're conceding the tomb is empty. Romans weren't about to steal the body. They wanted Jesus dead. Religious leaders of the day weren't about to steal the body. They wanted Jesus to stay dead. Disciples weren't about to steal the body. I found 7 ancient sources, 6 of them outside the Bible, that said that the disciples lived lives of deprivation and suffering as a result of their proclamation that Jesus had risen. They were willing to die for it. Why? Because they were there. Of all human beings who've ever lived, they were in a position to know for a fact whether he returned from the dead or not. And finally, the 4th E stands for the word eyewitnesses. There are 9 ancient sources inside and outside the New Testament confirming and corroborating the conviction of the disciples that they encountered the risen Jesus. That is an avalanche of historical data.